conversation with Raquel Noronha, that is the regional expert for Latin America. The conversation happened between me and Raquel, and we tried as Bjarke and Immanuel to others to reflect on, to discuss the expert perspective on the relevance of gender design, the contribution of Latin American for this field of research and practice, as well as the connection of this kind of research with current debate in the field of design in Latin America, as well as how this can contribute to ongoing discussion in the design field worldwide. Hi Raquel, welcome, and how are you? How is it going?
Hi Chiara, thank you. I'm fine and happy to be here with you.
Yes, I'm happy to be here too, because in this moment we're going to have a conversation to explain, to try to show to the participants of the gender design program why we called you a designer and anthropologist that works with participatory design processes at Universidade Federal do Maranhão to participate and to be a regional expert of this program. Okay, the program, you know, that is on gender design in LIMS, and the aim is to support this growing field for research and practice in design. So let's say that to start, I'd like to ask you, what do you think that LIMS countries and projects in LIMS country, low and middle income countries, can add to this evolving area of research? That's my first question for you.
Okay, thank you, Chiara. I think this first contribution of Latin American countries is the issue of cultural diversity. We should always look to the possibility of consider different point of views, the involvement of different social actors from different cultures as a positive issue and opportunity to design innovation, not as a trouble that sometimes it's in that way. In addition to the diversity, I think it's the possibility of a political debate around gender issues, understood as a situated practice, identities and relationships. The provocative and active tradition of Latin American countries help us to think about design as a gender technology. I mean that our choices, our design practices led us to making things, imagine futures, and building discourses, constructing specific gender issues, depending on our epistemological and political approaches. Just like cinema and communication, design has the possibility of guiding what is understood socially, politically, and designerly as identities, dreams, and material culture. In our practices, we can materialize gender issues, and that's why GDS is so important to map and to discuss all these projects' approaches in gender design.
You mentioned, obviously, you made some references to some qualities, some characteristics of design and the cultural characteristic of Latin American countries. So I would like to know if you can give us some context about design, contextualize a little bit design in Latin America, and maybe tell us something about how the current discussion in design in Latin America from Latin American countries are related to current discussion in broadly in the design field.
It's a very good question, Chiara. I perceive that it's an important movement that has been taking place in Latin America. And here we have our own local flavors, such as the Bien Vivir approach, Pachamama, decoloniality, which don't happen only in design field. In the social science, for instance, this debate has been going on for almost 3 decades. So decolonizing design drive us to reimagine design practices, making them always relational. The focus is not only in the human relationships, but on a broader range of relations, including environment, other beings, so-called more than humans, and materials, all they having their own roles in the project scope. Innovative processes, the search for technological advances, must consider this multiplicity of actors and dialogue with them. Other forms of consumption and markets are emerging, other actors are in the stage. So I'm really enthusiastic with this scenario, specifically in Latin America. We have been playing a very important role to change the design paradigm, I would say.
Okay, so Latin American countries are contributing to switching some main concepts, main understandings about design internationally. So I was I was wondering, what do you hope or expect from for gender design in Latin America?
Yara, I'm really expecting a breakthrough in the traditional ways of thinking about participation, about engagement, and about how the market will respond to all of these new and disruptive ways of designing. Of course, we have a long time between designing, researching, and the social feedback to those innovative outcomes. But in the middle of this long path, we have the approval or disapproval of the academy, how our peers will discuss and deal with these emergent forms of knowing and researching. Those impacts, even in the academic fields, will be a good thermometer to measure the importance of thinking about gender design approach, breaking some academics barriers about designing with subaltern groups, as I have read many of all the projects from Latin America and some from Africa and Asia, and many of them work with this approach, and how we can activate technologies that are not those accepted as standards, like we call in Brazil social technologies, is still a challenge for everybody, specifically for women in the academic fields. So we have a long challenge inside GDS program.
And you're a woman in an academic field, and I know that you are working with this concept. So I was wondering if you can tell us something about your research and how it relates to gender design.
Yes, I have been working with crafts people for 15 years in process that constructs autonomy practices and awareness processes through making things with them. So I'm working with methodological and epistemological approach from design fields, constructing those awareness with them. This dialogue with my own academic story. I'm undergraduated in design, and I had my master's and PhD in anthropology. So I am thinking about design by means of anthropology. And that is and have been the essence of my research. We have been working here in Maranhão, a very poor state in Brazil. We are between the north and the northeast. We are almost in the Amazonic region. And we work at NIDA, the Nucleus of Research on Innovation, Design and Anthropology, at Federal University of Maranhão. With gender perspective, I've been working with extractivist women, collectors, artisans, indigenous and maroon women. This gave us the dimension of the pluriverse as these cosmologies, desires, and different kind of problems cannot be seen just by the researcher's eyes. And design as a knowledge field has been concerned with representing the others and representing ideas. I believe that our great challenge here is to open the design process and to overcome the idea of representation, based on a construct with many hands, considering the pluriversity of ideas. When we represent the other, we confine them in our own worldviews. And this is colonizing their ways of knowing that are very rich and different from ours. But in our research approach, we are trying to construct uh, ways of making them dialogue in the same level. So our ongoing research project is about reimagining educational design practices with artisans in the classroom, in the undergraduation course, design course. How can we learn to create and imagine beyond the modern design ideas? How can we do this by looking at the skilled practitioners' ways of thinking, ways of creating, that it's not necessarily design? How we can understand making and design as different forms of expressing creativity. These are the main questions of our research program. And now we are currently suspended by the pandemic, but next year we hope to resume activities with artisans at UFMA in the classroom of design course.
Yeah, I think that everybody is waiting to go back to the field and to work with people as we do in our profession, even more when we use a participatory design approach. You talk about designing by the means of anthropology, building awareness together, and opening the design process. And I wonder if you can suggest something to our participants, some readings that discuss this perspective and how to do this, that can inspire them. Yeah. Do you have any suggestion for us?
Yes, Chiara. I have three texts that are fundamental for our understandings and to go to the fields to work with handicrafts, craft peoples, and craft people. And I will suggest the first of them is a paper that's no gender technologies of gender by Teresa de Lauretis. She's an Italian researcher from the linguistics, and she deals with the idea that the cinema is a gender technology. And this paper helps us to think about design as a gender technology, how we engender uh, things, images, artifacts, and how we can construct the idea of specific identities by making things. So we address to design an important role in this construction of the identities. So this text was very important to understand this design role in the gender construction. The second is the book Designs for the Pluriverse by Arthur Escobar, in which we can find pathways to think about the diversity and about the multiple cosmologies we can find as a design challenge towards autonomia. We have also the Spanish version of this book called Diseño y Autonomía, that is for free to download in Claxo website. This book was disruptive for us to go beyond this idea of representation and Escobar says there that all community constructs the design of themselves, of itself. And it's a very important reflection that we are not as a designer going to a community to bring something new or something ready, but we have to construct with these communities because they have their own ways of perceiving and thinking about design. And the third is another book that is Design Anthropology, Theory and Practice, that I do recommend. We have texts in this book, different chapters from by Mingold, Joachim House, and I recommend Dory Tunstall's chapter, Decolonizing Design Innovation, in which she goes deeper in the relationship between innovation and decoloniality. I think it's important to us to read, to go deeper in this discussion, because we are talking about innovation, but with gender design approach. So it's important to recognize this difference between traditional innovation processes and a gender design innovation approach. So I have many other references I can share with the awardees. It will be my pleasure to work closer with all the groups of the researchers, and I am at your disposal to help and to discuss, to improve all the research projects. So thank you, Chiara, for this talk, and to all GDS team.
Thank you. Thank you for what you share with us. Thank you for the suggestions. I'm sure that if anybody has any question for you, they can write you. And yeah, let's start this program and these projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, this is our moment for a question and answer. After this conversation in the break, I will share the references that Raquel suggested, the readings, in the chat box. But in the meanwhile, we have some minutes to talk with Raquel. And does anybody has any question? Yes, Amina, please. We cannot hear you, though.
It's off.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Thank you for a very engaging conversation. I think this is, we need more of it, and I'm glad that the conversation is taped and we can resource it. But I have a quick question for Raquel, and that is, I think decolonizing design is so critically important. I personally would like to use some of these resources. So are they available in English version, or it is written in either Spanish or Italian or Portuguese?
Amina, thank you. All these texts, they are in English. I have the first one, Technology of Gender in Portuguese, and also the designs for the pluriverse in Spanish. So we are going to create a drive with this material, and it will be shared with you. Thank you.
As I said, I'm posting them. Any other question? Or maybe something that you would like to add, Raquel, after listening to Emmanuel and Amina?
I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Griselda, if you want to introduce
Hello,
yourself.
Raquel.
Hi, Griselda. Nice to meet you personally.
Yeah, yes, personally. Yes. Now, I wonder if we are thinking about the colonialism and how we can share multiple perspective from Latin America and know just one thing like Latin America, like one and totally thing like, you know, I think it's very important what I wonder what do you think about it, because also inside Brazil, I mean, it's a very different, there are very different cultures and places and backgrounds. So I think one of our aims, even in this project, is diversify the meanings about Latin America, you know, because it's not just one solid thing with just some characteristics, no?
Yes, in the first part of the video, the conversation, Griselda, I was talking about diversity, but I think we could not hear with the audio problem. So, of course, when we talk about Latin America, when you're talking about Africa, we are talking about Asia, we are talking about a great, great diversity. And I think these approaches in gender design, they should be as close, as local, as situated as they can be. Because we are talking about a conception, decolonial design, decolonization, and of course we have to understand and to construct ways of talking about decolonization in Argentina or in Buenos Aires or in Cordoba. So we are talking about a very specific and situated actions. So it's a tag, decolonization, but we are talking about specificities. We are talking about how you researchers and the subjects from your research, you are going to construct this approach. Of course, decoloniality is not an obligation as well as participation, but I think if you're talking about gender, we can bring people together to understand what people are understanding about gender, so that we could construct this situated approach in our researches as well. Thank you.
Raquel, I was wondering if we have been working together for some months, 1 year, a bit more, even 1 month, 1 year and a half. So you know the program and our ideas quite well at the current moment. So I was wondering if from your perspective, which kind of unique and original opportunities this program can offer to these researchers in regard to gender design, and yeah. So if you have an idea about this.
Yes, Chiara, I think we could bring with this processes of constructing this approach together. These labs we are organizing, I think they are going to bring those reflections and those specifically talking about the characteristics, the identities, the diversity we are going to find with many of these groups. So I think our goals, our outcomes would be the collective construction. I think gender design is a platform. Gender design on STEAM is a platform as a program to reflect and to map this diversity. I think it's, not only in Latin America, but in all the regions, we are talking about diversity, and to construct this maybe cartography about gender design, how we understand gender and design in all the countries we are working with.
Yeah, I agree with you. We discuss this often, how the diversity can bring richness, how we can contribute, how can each one perspective can enlighten some things, maybe provoke some change, or maybe not, or maybe strengthen ours. But that's the idea, working together towards this.